The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
It really feels like the cat with the laser pointer. It's like you've led the cat up to the top of the building and now you're leading it over the edge.
President Trump is rebalancing trade around the world and making things more fair for the American people.
I think that anytime the deep state can like over-capitalize in whatever situation they have, they're going to.
But the rest of it is a very well-organized and well-funded color revolution operation of the type they run all over the world again and again and again to destabilize entire societies.
Echoes carried on the wind. We stepped into a moment where a nation would begin. Powder smoke and rising banners, voices ringing through the flame. We rode the currents of tomorrow, found the dawn of freedom's flame. Raise the flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rides on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to glory, soft disclosure fans the flame.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily. Let's let this play out for a minute here.
Across the years the story travels, past the pages time is worn. Every age will hear the echoes of the day a dream was born. Though the road may twist before us, though the stars may lose their way, some fires burn beyond tomorrow, lighting every future day.
I'm fired up, Alpha. How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm good, baby. I'm good. That just made me exponentially better, though.
That is something that was put together in conjunction with obviously Green Star, bro. I heard that song.
This background, bro. I like this background.
We changed everything. Badlands Daily is rebranded, ladies and gentlemen, and it's here to stay. It's here to stay,
man. I like it.
The YouTube thing was getting to me, man. Like the whole having to start YouTube every day, every morning, and forgetting half the time. And then Jessica popping in here, which is I know she doesn't actually do it, but it's her yelling at me. She doesn't actually yell at me, guys. Jessica's an absolute sweetheart. We love her to death here at Badlands. But I decided, I was like, you know what, we got to rebrand this, and let's change the background, and let's change the song. And I said, you know what, the Soft Disclosure Revolution song is friggin' amazing. Green Star did a fantastic job. Him and his brother, what's his brother's name? Glitch. Hold on. I got to make sure I give it justice. But Glitch in the chat, that's what his brother. They did such a fantastic job with that song. I love it so much. And it's only got that one line, soft disclosure, no cracked hand remains, right? That's the only real soft disclosure reference in there. So I thought it was fantastic, and it will now live forever. And there we go.
Right on. What issues was YouTube given for the background though?
AC/DC, Thunderstruck.
Oh, the background music. Gotcha. I thought I was thinking background the image. I know we have. Go ahead. I was to say we have that issue on one of the shows we do. We have a little clip of the Nessa Dorma, and so every night it's like 25 seconds. That 25 seconds got to get clipped out. It's such a hassle.
Yep. It is a royal pain in the butt, and so we decided to just go ahead and change it. So I love it now. That's the new background for good. Smash that thumbs up if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen. And let's go ahead and get into some of our sponsors for today's inaugural show. This is a new leaf for Badlands Daily right here.
Oh, and this is the first one with all this new branding?
Yeah, you are the first person to get it. Yep. Had you heard it before? I posted in the Telegram chat that you're never a part of anymore. But
when I finally do go in there, you're like, you supposed to be here?
No. I was like, is Alpha still actually here?
I do try to go in there and read as often as I can. So
no, I posted it yesterday because I was trying to get some opinions on how the song ended, and because Jessica did it originally one way, and it was badass, and then I was like, but I really want that chorus. Like the chorus in that song is so freaking powerful. Raise the flames of revel. And so I was like, let me see how I can work this, and it lined up perfectly. And I was like, okay, we're going with this. We're gonna go with this. So she did everything else. She scrubbed all of the clips of us talking and everything else. She did fantastic. Put it all together, and I just had to make a couple little minor tweaks. And I love it when a plan comes together, man. All right, guys.
I like that a lot, man.
This episode, hang on here. This episode, guys, is brought to you by Cacao Bliss from Earth Echo, a ceremonial grade cacao drink with 7 superfoods that lower your appetite, boost focus, and calm anxiety. There's a small region in northwest Costa Rica where more people live to 100 than almost anywhere else on Earth. Researchers spent years trying to figure out why. The answer surprised everyone, and today's sponsor put that secret into a delicious chocolate drink that's only 35 calories. Here's something most people have never heard. The Kuna people of drink 5 cups of a special chocolate every day. Harvard researchers found their rates of cardiovascular problems are 9 times lower than Americans. Cancer rates are 15 times lower. Their energy, weight, and mental clarity stay remarkably well preserved into old age. The reason is flavanols, natural compounds in raw cacao that modern processing destroys. Research shows high flavanol cacao can increase stem cell counts by up to 220%, improve blood vessel function by up to 47%. You need the ceremonial grade stuff, the raw, real form found in nature. Learn more and get special discounts and free shipping today at trycacaobliss.com/badlands. That's trycacaobliss.com/badlands. All right. So love that stuff. By the way,
I tried it yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was one, it comes in like the coolest packaging.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I do judge things on their packaging, and he's going to go grab it. I'm so stoked that he's going to do this. But this is just like, respect our product is what, yes, dude. Yes.
You get this beautiful box. You open it up into this beautiful insert here.
So
I have not gotten to try it yet. And then it comes in this beautiful little setup. I'm going to be trying it starting on Monday because I've got so much going on right now that I can't learn like about how the process is and everything. So
well,
I'm starting.
I'll share how quick my process was. Read the directions. You could do it with water. You could do it with almond milk. So I was like, oh, let me do it with some almond milk. I have some. So go 2.5 level scoops. They give you this cool little wooden spoon in there. That it's not a cheesy one. It's a legit, like good quality little wooden spoon. You go in there, scoop it. You drop it in 8 ounces. I did 6 to 8 ounces. I did 8 ounces of almond milk, and then it has that little thing, 3 AAA batteries. You put them in there. You push a little button. You're like, and so then of course we're guys, right? So I'm just like, just having fun with that. Probably did it longer than I had to. Then to go, and I said, okay, here we come, here we come. And because it's healthy, I always prepare myself like it's healthy, right? And I was like, this is good. Like this was shout out to Echo. They did a phenomenal thing right here, and it was really good. So again, the health benefits are great, but actually tastes good too. So plus. Yeah.
All right, guys. Again, smash that thumbs up if you have not done so yet already. And again, we had a great day yesterday for America. Team USA defeating Bosnia and Herzegovina. That was so funny. Have you seen those posts out there, Alpha? People are like, Team USA is so good they had to put 2 countries together to beat us. Bosnia and Herzegovina is 1 country, but with the "and" there, it sounds like it's 2. So here was Flo Balogun with the first goal of the game, of the match. Fortunate enough to get it from the audience. Oh, this is all the goals. I didn't realize this. So this was all right. Let me hold off on this one because yesterday was, while it was a great day, there was a lot of controversy. And Balogun, who scored the goal we just showed right there, also got a red card for this play right here. And I can't play the volume because YouTube will take us down. And of course, now, so it's interesting because FIFA, you're allowed to appeal red cards. And so they are going to appeal that red card because, again, it wasn't even a yellow on the pitch during the, in live time.
If you're making that face and crying the way he is and you go back in, you are a lying POS, man.
Yeah, I agree. Now, we did have, so we went down, we were 1-0, but we were down a man. So it was 10 to 11 on the pitch. And that's pretty hard to defend against, right? And clearly Bosnia Herzegovina went on like a why are we having problems with Facebook? They went on like a tear, and they didn't score any, but they had a bunch of shots on goal, a bunch of shots that were just wide. It was pretty scary.
What do you do in a situation like that? Do you does your goalie take a more active?
No, you just play more. You put more people in the box and you play more defensive. And try and get clears, and when you do finally get the ball, you're kind of in build-up mode. You're trying to not let them press on you too hard. This is more Cam's thing, obviously being the soccer player, but we did get a huge break. We had a free kick just outside the box, and Tillman buries it in the back of the net here. Such an impressive shot from him, and it put us up 2-0 with about 15 minutes to go, I think, and that was huge. That was everything.
Why does everybody stand right there like that?
So when you have a set piece, so when there's a foul, there's 2 things that can happen. You can either play it off, if like you can take the advantage and continue playing, or if you turn over the ball like within a couple seconds, the ref will stop it and you'll go back and have a set piece, a free kick from there. Or you can just stop the play and have the free kick from there. So when it's close like that, you got all these guys that stand in a wall to block you from taking a clean shot at the net. And they jump. And now what they've been doing is they'll lay somebody down on the ground behind the wall so that you can't, because they used to try and they'd all jump when you go to kick. And so they would just kick like a screamer on the ground, a worm burner, and try and get it in that way. So now they lay somebody down in the back. They didn't do that there, but Tillman just bent it right in, man. Top, upper left. Absolutely beautiful. So now we play Belgium on Monday. It's going to be a fantastic game, and I cannot wait. I'm hoping that Balogun gets back, that we get Balogun back. Team USA looks good, man. They look really, really good. So, and then a lot of people in a moment after the game, this was pretty badass. Again, I can't play it because of the volume, because of the copyright. But after the game, they all got together, and the whole team came to midfield and prayed together, and that was pretty badass too. And you can hear them right here praying. So, love to see it, man. The World Cup is doing some huge things, both in the sports world and the culture war. So,
how part of the prayer was that number 4 grows a set of balls.
That's all it's just, soccer, brother.
Why? I'm not going to go on a tangent. It's just
soccer players are big weenies, man. Denise Ann says, I was skeptical when you said you were scrapping the old intro. Let me pull this up. When you were scrapping the old intro, but this one is fire, and love the A-Team reference, Brian. You just needed a cigar while saying that. My soft disclosure order is on the way. All right. Appreciate that, Denise. Soft disclosure. Appreciate that soft disclosure. Appreciate that. So there we go. All right. And the other big news, I don't know if you saw this, but Batman decided he wanted to scale the Empire State Building yesterday. This was all over the news yesterday. And propose. So, guys, if you've been trying to think of an interesting way to propose to your woman, you will never be able to top this, quite literally, pun intended. You'll never be able to top this. I think they ended up holding up a banner that said something like, when love.
Oh, I have a freeze frame of that.
Yeah. It's pretty funny wearing Batman, because that's like, I mean, I know they called it Gotham, but we all know what it really was. Pretty cool there. Oh, you got it? Pull it in. Pull it in.
You have to do that.
Oh. You're so lame.
What are you taking down?
Watch the Alpha Warrior show. That's not actually what they said, guys. This is fake news, dis, and malinformation.
What? I disavow. That is fake news.
Malinformation. They did end up climbing all the way up to the top. You can see here. What does it say? When the power of love, something the love of power, the world will know peace, or something. They climbed all the way to the top. Tippy top. It would be funny if Trump says tippy top. They climbed to the tippy top.
Put a lot of first responders in danger.
They what?
Put first responders in danger by doing something like that.
Yeah, you do. And I got the first responders here. Could imagine going in this call right here.
How you doing? Can you just stay where you are? Rob, you good? How you doing? Well, you can't be up here. What? All right. All right.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Rob, come on. Give me this.
You guys gonna be cooperative?
You cooperate? Matt, you're on.
On.
I bring her to the other side.
It's open over there.
Just bring her over there. So he can come down.
Just so you're
before he goes back up. What language do you guys speak?
Russian.
All right.
I understand, but not so good.
Hey, you guys can't be here. It's like it's like a cop responding to a pool party or something. Hey, you guys, this is a public area. The public pool, it's closed. You can't be here.
What he's doing is he's gauging their temperament.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, are these people that are just doing a stunt? Are these content creators? Their sign didn't really have anything jihadi, but at the same time, you don't know. Are they going to try to blow themselves up with you going there? Like, you don't know. So you start asking these really childish style questions just to kind of gauge where they're at. You know, it's listen, I get the call, I'll say, no, they can stay up there, they can fall. They can figure it out. Figure it out.
They got up there, they can get down. They got up there, they can get their asses down. All right. Let's jump into this story here. Speaking of New York City, it's going to be a hot 4th of July for much of the country. I saw this morning and was like, man, I feel bad for all those people up north that think Florida's so awful. A heat wave centered on the Midwest and parts of the East will break temperature records as the thermometer pegs out at 105 degrees in some places, including broad swaths of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, including Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Kentucky, parts of Minnesota, Kansas, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, southern New England, downstate New York, including New York City, and potentially DC and Baltimore also being affected. It's being caused by a heat dome. Got to get the Golden Dome up there to shoot back against the heat domes, an area of high pressure that is likely to act as a lid, trapping in all of that hot air. And the mayor of New York, the communist, socialist, whatever you want to call him, telling people, keep your thermostats at 78 degrees.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
Alleviate the stress. So scorch yourself as you're paying for electricity, but monitor how much electricity you're allowed. Hey, guys, 4th of July in Florida, 89 degrees. Come to Florida.
What was the temperature in Trump in North Dakota?
I don't know. I got that pulled up though. We're going to be talking about that.
And then I'll wait. You know, if he would have came out with something like, hey, you know, for the business owners and homeowners, you know, that during this, you know, heat crisis that we have, right, or this heat wave that we have, you know, because they have the ability to monitor this stuff. Everybody that keeps their temperatures to, you know, 78, 79 degrees, and we see that, we're going to offer an incentive for that. You know, like you'll get, you know, 10% off on this bill, like provide an incentive. But just to say, hey, keep it down because we want to use the money, you know, for these resources to, you know, bring in more illegals and all that. Yeah, screw you. But create an incentive for the people making the sacrifice.
I don't know, man. I remember, you know, back in, I don't know, sometime during the quote unquote Biden administration, when Colorado, when they were going in and turning off your AC, right? We all have
that in California, rolling blackouts.
No. But these are like, so rolling blackouts, from what I understand, that's when the actual energy goes down, right? Or like you can't get power, or do they deliberately turn it off?
No, they deliberately shut down the power in certain parts of the grid, allegedly to prevent, you know, less stress on the system, you know, but you could do that when it's 115, 117 degrees. You know, it's rough.
Yeah. Well, you alluded to it, so we'll just play this here. Boss Man was in the Badlands yesterday on pretty sure it was the 5-year Delta of the Devolution series. And of course we got another, we didn't, maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but Badlands got another hat tip from the boss.
Badlands, I go to the Badlands. I said, what's that all about? It's pretty cool name, I have to tell you. Badlands, I go to the Badlands. I said,
that's so awesome, bro.
It's pretty cool.
He knows, dude. He knows. You're not going to convince me he doesn't.
Badlands. What's that all about? I don't know.
Dude, he knows, bro. He knows. When he does that, that's telling me he's like, hell, come on, fellas and a lady. I mean, come on, fellas and the ladies.
When he's making a post Mac to the Future during the Back to the Future themed ad being premiered for the very first time, and he makes that post at the exact time that the ad is premiering. Come on now. I mean, how many times before it's no longer just coincidence?
Shout out Scavino for dropping those gems for us. Doing it with the boss's stamp on it, but shout out Scavino. We know it's him.
All right, let's jump into this story here from CBS News. Former CIA Director John Brennan sues the Justice Department, Trump officials over criminal probes. Brennan sued the Justice Department, seeking a court order to force the preservation of records in the ongoing federal investigations targeting him. The lawsuit represents an unusual step for Brennan, who's been the focus of two Justice Department criminal probes. One is centered on allegations that Brennan lied to Congress in 2023 about the U.S. intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election. The second is a sprawling grand conspiracy. We like to call it the RICO Grand here at Badlands. Probe examining whether Obama and Biden era officials were part of a long-running conspiracy to keep Mr. Trump, President Trump to you, CBS News, out of political office. Brennan's legal team argues that any quote-unquote eventual indictment against him will be challenged in the court as, quote, unconstitutionally vindictive and selective, end quote. And law, by the way, just throwing this out there, they completely changed the law in New York to go after President Trump. They completely and totally fabricated tax documents to go after President Trump, or misinterpreted. They didn't fabricate them. They misinterpreted tax documents to go after President Trump. So the weaponization can kiss ass with all that stuff. But and by the way, we are trying to stop swearing on this channel, so ass is not a bad word. I think you're allowed to say that on SEC airwaves. So not SEC, FCC, excuse me, SEC. The Security Exchange Commission is allowed to say ass. And the loss of any relevant records would impair perhaps fatally the ability of the court to review Director Brennan's challenges to do so in the full record of contemporaneous communications and materials that is needed to divine the true intentions behind the prosecutor's decisions and actions. In other words, preserve all your text messages right now so we could see if you guys are talking about this being vindictive. Good.
Oh, I'll wait till you're done. I'll wait till you're done.
All right. Brennan's case has been assigned to U.S. District Judge Jayacob. The complaint also singles out the U.S. attorneys in the Southern District of Florida, the U.S. attorney in the Southern District, Jason Redding Quinones, and Josh DeGenova. I always get that wrong. DeGenova, a counselor to the acting attorney general. And then they have to, of course, invoke Kurt Olson. Also involved in the investigation is Kurt Olson, Trump's director of election security and integrity, as well as John Yoo, the former senior Justice Department official who authored the controversial torture memos in the war on terror during Bush's presidency. What you got for me, brother?
So, genius move by Brennan on this one. And you guys know how much I despise him, because he knows he's guilty. And so you say, well, then why the heck would he want them to preserve these notes? Because what he's doing is he's buying himself time in the indictment and the arrest. Because remember, when they actually do the indictment and the arrest, then the different levels of discovery start becoming available for him. So by him doing this is something that they're going to make a request for when they go in for discovery. This is why they're doing the preservation letters. Well, what he knows is those conversations aren't just going to be about him. They're going to be about his co-conspirators. And so what this does is now it forces the prosecution to be like, okay, either we got to rush these cases or we got to move them up, or we're going to have to delay his so we don't give him access to the discovery and compromise these other things. I was pissed when I saw this because he's as good as we think he is. And this is a testament to it, that it's lawfare without creating an indictment against yourself for the public. For instance, when somebody pleads the fifth, what does everybody think? Even though we're not supposed to, what does everybody think? Oh, you're guilty. Like, you're pleading the fifth, you're guilty. But when someone does something like this, it's a reverse indictment. Then the longer it prolongs, you're trying to make it look like the prosecution is hiding something, because they are, but it's not for nefarious reasons. So this is a genius strategy by them, and it pisses me off because it could push the indictment back. We'll see. I think we have some very brilliant people on the offensive side of this as well, and we'll see how they navigate it.
Well, I think President Trump also now wants this, and for a while he has, but I think now you're seeing the move here to litigate this in the court of public opinion as well. And that's evidenced here by this clip right here, and this will segue into another clip of the meltdown over this exact moment.
Mr. President, real quick question. You've got DNI Pulte over there as the new director. We also know you have the task force set up on declassification, maybe talking about international, maybe looking at some declassification. Are you able to give us an update on that?
Declassify almost everything. And, by the way, we have Jay Clayton is going in. Bill Pulte is a very talented guy, but he's just there temporarily until Jay Clayton. And Jay Clayton is going through the process. And Jay Clayton, highly respected, and so is Bill Pulte. But Bill is there just for a fairly short period of time. But while he's there, I said, you can declassify whatever you want.
Do you think we're going to get some soon, or maybe 2020?
I told him you can do it. You got to ask him.
All right.
But I think he's a friend of yours. I think that Bill will declassify. I told him you can declassify whatever you want. So Bill's there just for maybe a month or 2 months or something, and Jay is going through the process. He's got a hearing in 2 weeks. Highly respected man, Jay Clayton.
So declassify anything you want, Bill Pulte, anything you want. He starts out by saying almost anything, and then he doubles down twice after that. Anything you want, anything you want. And good.
Oh, no, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
Well, that has them freaking out, like in big time freak out mode. Here's two co-conspirators potentially, Hillary Clinton and Mark Elias. By the way, Mark Elias was, running Perkins Coie during a lot of this 2016 bogus Russiagate BS. And here's Hillary Clinton on CNN. Well, on Democracy Docket, CNN's playing it.
I hope there are career and even political appointees in various of the agencies that are slow walking or refusing to share information with Pulte.
So, Bill, you mentioned there are a range of.
Dude, I can't. The gravity of what she said. Before I get into that,
this is remember when Comey said, "I'm talking with people in the FBI and they're scared," and remember that?
Yeah. Well, you even had Brennan that said the same thing. We have a lesion because everybody started to adopt that. Oh, okay, so that's what you call yourselves there. Before we go too far here and abandon that last thing, I was trying to find who said in the chat to give them credit, but they said, I'm sure, President Trump and them have accounted for that move that Brennan did. And you're not wrong. Something to consider. It's harder, but if you structure the case, and again, this would be a reverse indicator that this has been a trust the plan for a very long time. Shout out to those guys. This would actually support that. If there's certain things that you want to get into the court, but there's not a legal pathway to bring it in with the investigation you're doing, you bring those into your communications. If you know someone's going to subpoena your communications for discovery, then what you do is that's where you have conversations of information regarding an investigation that you wouldn't be able to put into the report. You put it into your text.
Yep.
So for all you that remember that, how do you get something into the court? This could very well be that pathway. Now, typically, that takes, you have to have forethought of that at the onset of what you're doing, which means, you recognize a much bigger picture. If this is that case, then I think it definitely signals that this has been in the works for a long time. In the absence of that, then it looks more like a regular case where you're going to be, subpoena. And that's why a lot of prosecutors, DAs, detectives, you have your work phone and you have your personal phone. And that'll go into last night's Devolution Power Hour conversation on the moral dilemma of things when fighting that evil. But I just wanted to bring that up before we got too far away from it. But this one with Mark Elias and Hillary, that how many millions of people heard her say that, dude?
Yeah, that's panic mode right there.
Wow.
That's panic mode. And it's not lost on me that she's doing it with Mark Elias, who's also likely to, end up getting fallout from this in some form or fashion. He's low-hanging fruit on all of this.
He's lost a lot of cases. I don't know if you guys have been tracking that, but he's been losing a lot of cases.
Yeah, he's on a meltdown. I mean, they got the Watson decision in their favor, rightly so. That was a correct decision, the Watson decision. but they're getting their butts kicked all over the place. Colorado just slapped down the redistricting out there, which would have made instead of they tried to redistrict Colorado to 7-1 favorable to Democrats, and it's now 4. It's going to stay at 4-4. Obviously, the Virginia case, they're not doing as stellar as they thought they would on a lot of this litigation against President Trump. And having Hillary come out there and dog whistle to the ODNI office, don't cooperate with Bill Pulte is desperation. That's the only word to describe that, is desperation.
Well, it shows that they're also confident that they still have some stay behinds.
Yeah,
in these different agencies.
Victor Marks one. Yeah, that's. I mean,
I'm glad that Ash is watching right now. On a more serious note, Adam the Carpenter 1982, I think, finally solidified your argument with Ash.
I know. I saw that. And Ash is aligned with Mark Elias.
He goes, FYI, Mark Elias agrees with Ash on how to pronounce.
What? You go ahead and say it. You can say it.
Nevada.
Yeah. Well, while Mark Elias agrees with Ash.
You want to sell to us? Build your plant in Alabama. Build your plant in Nevada. Build your plant.
Yeah. Boss man agrees with me. Just throwing that out there. Ash is going to be so mad in the chat right now. She's like, why can't I play my I want to play my whole thing.
She wants to side with Mark Elias while we side with the president. That's on you, Ash.
Yeah, calling into question her loyalty to the Why We Vote podcast now at this point. Is she an op? She's agreeing with Mark Elias. So is she an op? I don't know.
She said so does the whole state of Nevada, but that's how propaganda works, Ash.
Well, me and Ash have this purely hate-driven relationship, according to yesterday's show. So we got to take the shots when we can. I'm totally kidding. Trump does go on. President Trump does go on at another point to say people in Nevada freak out if you say Nevada, even though it's a Spanish word, and it is absolutely Nevada. He goes Nevada, because when you say the state, you have to hold your nose. Nevada. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're holding your nose. So there we go. Ash says we hate each other so much. We sure do. All right, let's play this clip here from Carrie Lake, maybe, kind of alluding a little bit to some of the Pulte D classes that we'll get here.
Nobody's trying to take that away from military or the invalid or anything like that. Right. But this crap where just millions go out and then millions come back and you don't know who signed them. It's got to stop.
In both of my elections, they were counting ballots for 12, 13, 14 days. I'll never forget. In the Senate race, 4 days after the election, oh my golly, they happened to find double the amount of ballots in one county. I called down and said, where the heck did you find the double the amount, 100% more ballots? Oh, we found them in a vault somewhere. Our elections are theater. They're phony in many cases, and we have to straighten it out. We can do this. It's easy to run elections that are fair, honest, and transparent, but we have to have the will to do it. And the people want it. I just hope that the people who have the votes on this get behind the people.
So, pushing, I think this is all going to come together nicely to shape the argument for the Save America Act. I don't know if we're actually going to get it or not, if the Senate's going to capitulate here and decide to pass it. But, President Trump has changed his tone on it. He's taken out the mutilization. He took out the transgender men and women's sports. Now, obviously, that was because of SCOTUS decision, but SCOTUS made no rulings on mutilization. There were no cases dealing with, transgender mutilization and transgender for everyone. There's no rulings on that, but he's taken it out. And so now he's buttoned up, the Save America Act, just to the fundamental things that both sides should be able to agree on, right? Democrats are running on transgender for everyone. Like that's they've branded themselves as that. To cast that brand off from now until the midterms is impossible. They won't be able to do it. And so, I said earlier this week, I think the Pulte, we're going to get a D class from DNI, whether it's the election report for 2020, whatever the case might be. I think we're going to find out that there was significant mail-in ballot fraud, like not just the stuff that we know. Well, actually, probably the stuff that we know, but it's going to be thrust into the mainstream. It's not just going to be, exposed on the Why We Vote podcast or here on Badlands or at Gateway Pundit or at, Just the News. It's actually going to have to be covered by the mainstream. And when that happens, that 83%, Congress is not going to be able to ignore that anymore. And we will get the Save America Act. Now, again, I am on the line that even the Save America Act does not fix our elections, but it does make them a lot more secure than they are right now.
I 100% agree with you. Here's he put there all these things that were attached to it, created the arguments of why either side wanted to push resistance against it, right? So now they're and again, that's the mainstream conversation. Well, they're doing this and they want this. If this needs to be removed, so what does Trump do? Come out and removes everything. So now it's like, now what's your argument? And again, this is because it's not going to pass. I've said it from day one. It's not going to pass, and this is going to create the indictment against our establishment government, which is going to allow Trump to have the court of public opinion for the next move that he's going to do. And I do agree with you. This information that's going to surface, it's not just going to be information. It's not even just going to be evidence. It's going to be irrefutable, because that's what Trump needs for everybody to see. And I agree with you. It's going to hit that 83% in the mainstream media.
Yep.
Yeah, you nailed it on that one, man. You know Dan Ball? I've known him since I was a very young cop. He was a local reporter out here.
Really?
He's a ball of fire, man. So you and Ash ever want to get a story out to Dan Ball, I'll shoot him a call.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool to get you guys on with that audience.
I would love to talk election fraud. OANN's been pretty good. I've had conversations before with was it when he was with never mind. Chanel Rion was with them a while back, I believe. I think even Brian Glenn was with them for a little while back, or was that right? Real America's Voice. I can't remember. So many alternative media platforms out there now. But they were the ones that stood firm in 2020. Newsmax, they capitulated. Fox News, obviously, that was part of the
They call them Newsvax.
I remember after 2021, right before Biden was quote unquote inaugurated, Newsmax had like an article out, and I did a podcast on it that was like, maybe we should give Joe Biden a chance. And I'm like, we should. I cut the word out there. The F we should. He's completely illegitimate. And
well, we lost his audio, folks. What was going to say is
completely illegitimate. Back now, sorry.
But no, my little brother actually worked with him. My brother was the one in the media room that, when you're watching the news late at night and all of a sudden these other segments come on, or, they'd be like that, you know what I mean? Because that my brother was the guy that if he saw that, is because he fell asleep while he was supposed to be doing his job. So.
All right, so let's I got a couple stories on the birthright citizenship, obviously struck down by the courts. Stephen Miller talking about the birther tourism here on Jesse Waters. I think this was on Tuesday.
So you have to are we banning pregnant women from America? Are we banning foreign pregnant women?
Well, what I'm saying, Jesse, is that you have to now think very carefully about who you let into your country, even on a temporary basis, because the possibility, as you said, for birth tourism, right? The idea that people come here just to have babies on American soil, and that baby gets to be a citizen for life. So you have mothers that come in fully pregnant, have a baby, go home, and again, that baby gets Medicaid, and that baby gets welfare, and that baby gets cash assistance, and can send, leave the baby with, a cousin, a relative, whatever, and then just send welfare checks back home. You can support a whole family in the third world. So yes, you can't have the kinds of immigration programs other countries have when you can just have a baby here, and now that child is an American citizen. So there's a lot of things we're going to have to take a hard look at, Jesse. Yeah.
And that's exactly what the DOJ is doing here. The U.S. Department of Justice put this out, memorandum for DOJ employees on prosecution of fraudulent birth tourism schemes from Assistant Attorney General Colin McDonald. And then Todd Blanche, addressing the press yesterday, said this.
From a Department of Justice standpoint, it's obviously focusing our prosecutors and our law enforcement partners on birthing tourism, and it's a booming industry, and it will continue. It will continue given the Supreme Court's decision yesterday. There's other things that DHS can do and the federal government can do in the visa process and the application process to try to minimize or limit the opportunity of folks coming here to not to visit and not to do what they're saying they're doing on their tourist visa, but just to have a baby that can then be a U.S. citizen. So from our standpoint, it's focusing on what is a problem. So everybody should agree that it's a violation of our laws if your intent in coming here, if you're pregnant, is to have a child to become a United States citizen because of our now laws. And so what we have to do as the Department of Justice is make sure our agents or HSI agents that we work with and the FBI are focused on stopping that, and that's what we're going to do.
Let's make it a stipulation. Just go full bore. If you're pregnant, you can't travel to the United States. Period.
Well, it's not just the traveling. I was trying to find the article. It came out a few weeks ago. Yeah, I might have mentioned it to you. I don't know if I didn't. I wanted to, but there's a place in China.
Where you can literally, we covered this on Daily.
Okay, I thought we did.
Yeah.
Just to remind everybody. So I kept looking to that story. They have over 1 million kids there that they're born on ground that's considered U.S. soil, but they're raised the entire time in China. But they have U.S. citizenship. That's dangerous, bro.
Yes.
Why? No, we need to define what U.S. soil means. And I get it. The embassy that's a very unique situation. I would subscribe to that idea. It also means maybe we should reevaluate some of the places where we have them. But it almost reads like a strategy, because if you have 1 million people, you can deploy them to different parts of the United States where there's enough of a gap to flip a vote.
Well, that actually wasn't what I thought you were going to talk about, Alpha. There's now millionaires and billionaires in China that send over frozen sperm, and they pay surrogates in the United States, women, to have babies for them. Yeah.
Never heard that.
Yes. And then they have children here in the United States that the fathers never met the mother. They're just inseminated from frozen samples that are sent over from China. And yeah, dude. And then they have, there was the story we covered. This was a while back ago, maybe like 6 months ago. The guy had like 23 kids, one person, 23 kids or something like that in the United States. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
That's wild.
Let me see. Jeez. Chinese millionaire sends frozen sperm to U.S.
But have you heard about what I'm talking about? Are you familiar with that one?
Here it is. Revolver News: how a Chinese billionaire used his sperm to manufacture 100 U.S. citizens. Yeah. Here it is. This is originally, I guess it was the Federalist that reported it. But yeah, this is exactly what this guy did. 100 citizens. So you send over one sample and you just get a bunch of surrogate mothers, make $20,000-$30,000 to have a baby. And you've now got a U.S. citizen baby. Glitch in the Chat just became a monthly supporter. Is that because it says Glitch It Chat? Is that the same guy? I don't know. We got
Close
an
enough,
infiltrator.
I think so.
We got an infiltrator.
It's Saipan. It says Saipan, the largest island in the Commonwealth of the Northern Marine Islands, a U.S. territory in the Pacific Ocean, is a major hub for Chinese birth tourism. Because it is U.S. soil, babies born there automatically acquire U.S. citizenship under the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, that's nuts, bro. That is dangerous right there.
They actually gave the numbers. I'm trying to find the article that had the numbers on it. It was over 1 million. Like, it was insane.
That's crazy, bro. While you're looking for that, JD Vance chimed in on Coney Barrett. Here we go. Pull this up.
conservatives are angry with Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Are you one of them?
Well, look, do I think she made a mistake in the ruling? I do. I don't know how anybody can say that if a person who is an illegal alien, or a person, for example, who's pregnant and comes to the United States on a vacation, they have a baby and all of a sudden their entire family gets the benefits of American citizenship. I don't think that's what the framers of the 14th Amendment had in mind. I don't think it's the right case. But look, it was 5-4. Sometimes the Supreme Court makes mistakes. We're going to try to correct that mistake, but nobody's perfect, including the Supreme Court. See you.
That's exactly not that's exactly not what the framers of the 14th Amendment intended. Geiger Capital put this out on X with an actual excerpt from Senator Jacob Howard, one of the drafters, the framers of the 14th Amendment. Every person born within the limits of the United States and subject to their jurisdiction is by virtue of natural law and natural laws and national law a citizen of the United States. This will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens, who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of person. It's crystal clear. It will not, of course, meaning this should be known. This should be understood. This will not, of course, include persons born who are foreigners, aliens. Period. So foreigners and aliens. Now that's interesting because foreigners would include visas, green cards, people with temporary permission to be in the United States, not U.S. citizens. That is how the framers intended that. Going back, and we've beat this down. It was intended for the children of slaves that were just freed, so that they could not be deported, and that was what it was meant to be. So, and I think we owe that to them. That was absolutely correct in making that decision. Now, the 14th Amendment generally, man, did you notice, Alpha, how many of the cases over the last, couple sessions with the Supreme Court are dealing with the 14th Amendment? Almost like we need to repeal that unconstitutionally ratified amendment.
I would not argue that point with you.
It's crazy. And for those that have never heard us go off on this rant, just to summarize real quick, the only reason the 14th Amendment was ratified is, first and foremost, one of the reasons was because they made Nevada a state, right? They literally made Nevada a state in order to get enough states to pass it. Also, they held the southern states at gunpoint with military governments installed by the North and said, if you want to be a part of the Union, you're going to ratify this. It was military governments, right? It was what do you call those? What's the term for that? It's I can't think of the term off the top of my head, but were factions of the military that were installed until they could bring back, everything, bring the South to order, to heal. So disgusting, man.
And under duress.
Under duress. Blink twice if you were under duress. Now, this is having all sorts of fallback on X, man. You're seeing all of these posts now popping up. Every time you see a pregnant foreigner, call ICE, posting the phone number. Aesthetica put ICE in every major hospital in America. If an illegal pregnant woman dares to try to give birth on our soil, take them kicking and screaming and drop them off on the streets of Tijuana. Eric Spracklin, it's time to call ICE on every pregnant foreigner you see. Enough is enough. And then Derek Evans, if you see a pregnant foreigner, contact ICE immediately. The future of our country depends on it.
I don't disagree, man.
I'm with you, man. Like it's unfortunate that because broadly, I agree with it 100%, but from an individual level, there's a part of me that's still, I'm humanity, right? You don't want to see a pregnant mother that's about to give birth. You still have compassion for that. It's a human being. And to have to call out because the government has so horribly failed you that we could have just had it simply give birth. Sure, you can give birth here, but it's not a citizen. Now it's calling for an escalation of that to, well, if you give birth here and it's a U.S. citizen, we're going to drag you out of here and put you on that side of the imaginary line, and then it's not a U.S. citizen. That's sick that it got there, but they're forcing it to get there.
From the human viewpoint, I get it. But at the same time, these humans knew what they were doing when they came here. And so they valued their life over mine and my kids. So since you valued your life over mine and my kids, when the moment comes, I'm going to value my life over yours. Get the F out.
Yeah. King Kerr in the chat says losing compassion, ... And yeah, we are. And that's a horrible thing because compassion is a fundamental Christian value, right? That is supposed to be, it should be a fundamental human value to have compassion, but you're spot on. We are losing compassion because they are making us incompassionate. They are doing it to us. You know, when common sense goes by the wayside and the only thing you have left to cling on to what you are as a nation, you know, they're allowing it to be diluted. And, you know, this is something that's
the problem is they've exploited our virtues for so long.
Exactly. And you're getting to the point where you have no other opportunity. You have no other choice. The only choice is to be an incompassionate prick.
They're taking the rent from the homes to raise the cost of rent. They're buying the homes that, you know, us or our kids should buy. They're taking the jobs that us or our kids should have.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's like I used to use this analogy way back in the beginning of these conversations. You know, the human side of you, yes. But if you go to the blood bank to donate blood, they're going to tell you, hey, you got to wait so long before you can come back, right? Because what happens if you stay there and just keep donating? Oh, another person needs it. Let me donate to them too. And then another person comes to the door. Let me donate to them too. Eventually you die. You only have so much. And that's the mindset that we have to take as a nation. We have to shut the doors down completely with no asterisks, completely, until this country has a chance to you know, regroup itself, regenerate its prosperity. We're not there yet. And they're taking the last drop of everything. It needs to stop.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Let's go ahead and pause here for just a moment and hit our next two sponsors for today. And ladies and gentlemen, first up, we've got our friends over at mypillow.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
All right, mypillow.com, promo code Badlands. And if you saw the brand new intro, this is where it all came from. Softdisclosure.com, promo code 1776 to save yourself 17.76%.
Incoming call. Connection established. Ready to proceed.
Hey, Brian, this is ZP. I'm on my way.
Okay, where are you taking me?
Back to the 70s. This isn't the 70s.
Muffin, stop it.
Is that a British soldier?
Oh no! My face! It's so soft! What is this?
While we're here, we might as well have some fun.
you think you're doing? Hey! Ouchies!
America owes you gentlemen a debt. How may the nation repay you?
Flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rides on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to tomorrow, soft disclosure fans the flame. For the hands that built this nation, may no cracked hands yet remain. Raise the flame.
We rockin' Deadwood tonight. Feel the fire, let it burn.
Raise the flame.
Oh, the only thing better than that ad is Soft Disclosure itself. Softdisclosure.com, promo code 1776 up until I think Saturday. Get you 17.76% off the beard oil, the tallow, the lotion, the deodorant, and supports small businesses, small American farms, American made, pure products. Just what can you not like about Soft Disclosure? No, that's a serious question. What can you not like about Soft Disclosure?
No, I agree with you. I like when you say, I can't do it. I'm going to butcher when you go that beard oil.
Some of that beard oil.
Yes, bro.
I am, so I just while that was playing, I just made it in the background. I'm going to outro today's show with the entirety of that song. It's like 5 minutes long and it's so damn good.
And when it's that long, don't they call it's called,
I don't know.
Not a bollard.
Ballard?
Ballard, yeah. Isn't it called a ballard?
Not a ballard, a ballard. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think it is. So, someone in the chat will know. I think when they're really long, that's what they're called.
I'm not sure. But anyway, softdisclosure.com, promo code 1776, 17.76% off your order for the 4th of July, supporting Badlands hugely. And let's get into the news. Harris County, I had this story up earlier, and for 2 days I've put this story off, and I think today's a fitting time to do it. So while the birthright citizenship case kind of sucked, the decision kind of sucked, like really bad, there was a good thing that came out, and there was a case earlier where Justice Thomas, in his opinion, had said that illegals here are not afforded the same due process rights under the federal government. And I don't know that this was, contingent on that, like if this was a result of that or if they were kind of holding out to see on that. But Harris County Immigrant Legal Services Program paused by the Texas Supreme Court. The Texas Supreme Court temporarily blocked the county's multi-million-dollar immigration legal assistance program after finding, quote unquote, serious doubt about whether the county has the legal authority to operate it. The program offers free legal services to county residents facing deportation who qualify. The state Supreme Court said that they have enough legal questions to put a temporary pause on the funding. Quote, it is not clear that the county has constitutional or statutory authority to conduct such a program. The program created in 2020 provides free legal services to eligible Harris County residents facing deportation while in ICE custody. And SCOTUS kind of made that clear that they don't. And so the problem with this, though, Alpha, is what happens now, right? It doesn't go through the county funds, taxpayer funds, but taxpayer funds are going to be diverted to an NGO, and the NGO is going to do it on behalf of a private entity that's, quote unquote, private because it's funded by the taxpayer dollars through, these grants and everything else. That's how they'll get around that one.
And the chat absolutely yelled at us. There's no R. It's ballad. It's a ballad. But I wouldn't. Yeah,
you said Ballard, and I had Timothy Ballard stuck in my head. It is a ballad.
I knew it was something in that ballpark, but I looked it up and it says a song that tells a narrative or a story.
Oh well, that could be any song.
Well, no, because I think when you get into the more specifics, that has to have so many choruses and all this, and that's what it ultimately ends up making it a very long song. So there's more to it than that. Just I was simplifying it.
I realize how stupid we just sounded saying Ballard, and I know it's a ballad. Played ballads before in the bands throughout the days. All right, let's jump into this story here. Bill Mallusion putting this out. New Department of Homeland Security is accusing Governor Tim Walz of trying to shield a Laotian illegal alien pedophile from being deported after Walz pardoned him for a 2006 conviction in which he repeatedly raped a 10-year-old girl in Minnesota. DHS says that Tao Lui Vang was issued a deportation order immediately after that conviction and was set to be imminently deported. But the pardon has now removed his deportable offenses and given him a clean record, which may thwart his removal and give him an avenue to fight deportation. I am not going to read the details below, but DHS put this out in response. The illegal alien repeatedly raped a 10-year-old girl, and Governor Walz and Minnesota sanctuary politicians gave him a pardon to shield him from removal. It's disturbing that Minnesota sanctuary politicians are willing to protect criminal illegal aliens like this monster.
That is
death penalty, death penalty, death penalty, death penalty.
And the crazy part is if this demon animal was to target another child and that parent got a hold of him and did what we all would hope that they do, then Walz would drop the hammer on that parent. And you would actually probably see the death penalty for that parent. Well, no, you wouldn't be able to because you would have heat of the passion. So, but nonetheless, you would see them come down with a severe punishment for them because of their failures. And not even failures because they're doing it on purpose.
Death penalty. Nothing. There's nothing. I have no compassion even for the first offense on that, but repeatedly, a 10-year-old, yeah, death penalty, man. There's no coming back from that. You know, if you can get the death penalty for murdering somebody, that person's dead. They no longer have to live with that. You've committed something that is going to scar that child for 60, 70, maybe even 80 or 90 years, right? Never going to forget that for the rest of their lives. Yeah, death penalty, quick death.
We need death penalties that are quote unquote not humane, like alligator pits. Yeah. You know,
bury them on a beach and pour the honey over their head. And just let all the crabs and ants and all the other insects.
We need to go back to like the medieval times, man. Like you need an actual deterrent, right? Not, oh, I'm going to be strapped and I'm going to get this shot and, my heart's going to peacefully stop. No. I mean, we have firing squads, but I'm talking, we need stuff that's crazy. We need a legitimate deterrence. That's what we need.
The Eighth Amendment be damned. Abolished the Eighth Amendment just for pedophiles. All right, let's get into we got some geopolitical news. Iran, the back and forth continues. We got President Trump here talking about Iran and the denuclearization.
With Secretary Hexas and General Kane about potentially returning to an all-out war with Iran. Does this mean you've been unhappy with
returning to an all-out war? We have not been at all-out war with Iran. We have never been at all-out war. Just throwing that out there, by the way.
Iran's adherence to the MOU?
Well, I think they've come a long way. We hit them very hard last week. I think they're fine. I think we're going to... It's the denuclearization of Iran. It's very simple. And Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, all of this stuff that we look at, all of these things that we do, the country's never had activity like it's got right now. So we're building more factories and car plants and other things. We went for years without ever building one car plant. Now we're building many car plants. We're building AI. We're building all over the country. $19.1 trillion being invested. The record was like 2, and we've got 19.1, and it's going to continue. And when those buildings open, you're going to see something like the country's never seen before. That's why the stock market's going up every day. That's why your 401k, because everybody benefits. When the stock market goes up, everybody benefits. More jobs.
All right. So, they're trying to bait him into talking about Iran, and he's like, stop talking about Iran. $19 trillion coming into the U.S. economy. All of these buildings, yeah, it's kind of rough right now. We get it. It's kind of rough right now. Wait until these buildings are completed and we start onshoring industry back into this country, and those buildings start getting filled up with good paying jobs, and those good paying jobs are going to make communities. It's like fertilizer. You put it down and the whole community just sprouts up around it. And watch what happens when all of this stuff starts coming to fruition here. All they want to talk about is Iran, and Trump is deflecting from it. It's not an all-out war. It's never been an all-out war. But go ahead. I'll get your take on that.
They want to exploit the fact that when you're unhealthy and you want to become healthy and you want to do it the correct path, there's pain in that growth. And people try to exploit, well, the gas prices are, well, this is going on. To bring manufacturing back home, to do these things, there's going to be pain in that. There's going to be a time where a generation or several generations are going to have to make that sacrifice because of what got us here, and we're there, and he's doing a phenomenal job to mitigate how bad that pain is, and people are overlooking that. We have. I expected to feel so much worse than we have, and he's done a great job of keeping that threshold to where it's going to be hard, but it's survivable. And I'm glad that he doesn't let them, dictate the conversation, and that he does point them to the places and the things that Americans do need to hear. He's good at that, man.
When I was in college, I remember I was in an economics class one time, and they were talking about they specifically used President Trump, and I don't remember the details about why we had the conversation or anything. And he wasn't president at the time. This was back in 2012, 2013, somewhere. I just got out of the Marine Corps, and they were talking about him as, this guy that was like, he was like a roller coaster ride in terms of his financials. He would be rich, and then he'd be dirt poor, and then he'd be rich. Like businesses going up and down, like up and down. He'd take losses. All that. We're at the point now where he's taken the helm, and we as a country have been going through kind of that same tumultuous, ride over the course of our 250 years since the Federal Reserve in 1913. It's been a spike up and then just a slope down the whole way, right? We're on the bottom of the roller coaster. Somebody yesterday, the woman, the DSA woman, Kairos, whatever, that's running in Colorado, she said, we're the wealthiest country in the world. We are not the wealthiest country in the world. We are the most in debt country in the world. We are $40 trillion in debt, right? If you were $10 million in debt and you lived in a neighborhood where the average income was, $100,000, but you were making $200,000, but you were $10 million in debt, you're not the wealthiest person in that neighborhood. You might have the highest income, but you're $10 million in debt. Nobody else has $10 million in debt. And so to say that we are the wealthiest country in the world is false. And what President Trump is doing right now is not only reinvigorating our own onshoring of industry, our own industry, making America build something again, but eventually I think we get to the point where either we're chunking away that debt or we replace it all together. Right. And these are all debts that are held mostly by banks, U.S. citizens. There's foreign countries that hold some of it. It is going to be really painful. It is going to be really painful. And hopefully what we're seeing right now is, kind of the peak of that pain. But he's exactly right, too. When all of this comes to fruition, it's going to be glorious.
A lot of money into the NGOs. And when you look at how much trillions of dollars in the NGOs, that has a huge impact on that debt. And a large portion of that debt was obtained fraudulently too. And there's a pathway for that.
Well, and every corner you see President Trump shining the spotlight on it, right? What did OPM do yesterday? They digitized Iron Mountain, and John, when John was on Daily Herald, I think on like Tuesday or something, I put out the OPM because they had this catchy like Office from The Office, the TV show, and they're like paper is boring, right? And I said it's from OPM, and I said I bet you they're gonna go through Iron Mountain. I bet you this is gonna be a shot at Iron Mountain here. And sure enough, they're digitizing Iron Mountain now. I don't know if they're going to retroactively digitize everything that's in there right now, or just from here on out, they're going to digitize it. But do you know how much money we are probably pissing away on dead former federal employees that are still collecting retirement, still collecting benefits that don't exist at all? You know, all of this is all coming together to expose how much fraud, waste, and abuse there is in our federal government, not just to NGOs, not just to other countries, but to our own people within the federal government, which we just found out on Friday on Badlands Daily live from Deadwood, that 500,000 federal employees are not paying taxes. So yeah, this is fantastic, man. I expose it all.
It's almost like they know it's a voluntary system.
Yeah, right. Or, as me and Chris Paul, of course, said on Friday, they don't exist. These are the people that don't exist, and you can't pay taxes if you don't exist. It's a little more difficult that way. So one more clip of President Trump talking about Iran here before getting on board the newly renovated Air Force One, which we'll get into that.
As far as...
Excuse me, not the newly renovated, the new Air Force One. And it's beautiful, man.
things are going, the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see. We hit them very hard for 3 nights, as you know, but we're getting along very well. So I call it the denuclearization, and it's all taking place. It's all going well. The stock market is setting records virtually every day.
All right, so that I want to use to lead into this clip right here of Trump's Fox News BFF, Trey Yingst, talking about the Iran.
Trey Yingst joins us from Tel Aviv. Hello, Trey.
Shannon, good morning. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran is being tested as Iran attacks vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military overnight launched a new round of strikes against IRGC targets after they went after an oil tanker near the strait. Now, according to CENTCOM, U.S. military aircraft targeted Iranian military surveillance infrastructure, communication systems, air defense sites, drone storage facilities, and mine layer capabilities. The president posted to True Social shortly after the strike, saying, in part, United States aircraft just struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites for violating the ceasefire agreement again. In response, Iran launched missiles and drones toward Kuwait and Bahrain. This was the second exchange of fire this weekend between the United States and Iran. The new military activity comes as the situation between Israel and Hezbollah plays out on a separate but parallel track.
Okay, we can pause that there. So, you know what's interesting about this? So, at Deadwood, we during the DPH show on Saturday night, General Quast got up there and was, talking about all of this and says, sometimes these strikes are, these fighter jets and these bombers are so precise that they can hit a crater that's already been created, right? And they can hit the same place over and over again. And you go back to when President Trump struck Soleimani, and at the time, the way that was reported is President Trump killed Soleimani, Iran responded, dropped, all these missiles outside of a base in Iraq or Syria or wherever it was that our base was hit. And some soldiers had concussions. We found out that was fake, that was not true. And President Trump came out in the 2024 campaign and said, they actually called me. Iran called me and says, hey, we have to strike back. We have to appear strong in the public image. That to me is what's going on here. And did you see Ghost? Have you seen Ghost segment? Well, you probably didn't see it on Badlands Daily on Monday. I was flying and I listened to it about the ships in the Strait of Hormuz that Iran hit.
No, I didn't see his segment.
So fascinating. And I'm not sure. I think Ghost did pick this up on his own. the ships that Iran struck over the weekend in the Strait of Hormuz, there were 6 ships that broke from the 2 agreed upon trade routes. So there's the UN, there's the Iran route, and there's the UN route to navigate the Strait of Hormuz. 6 ships deviated from that and went down a route along the Gulf of Oman, and that was not one of the agreed upon routes between the U.S. and Iran. And so Iran said, "Yo, you guys need to get back on the right track," or whatever. 5 of the ships did. 1 ship turned off its transponder and continued on. Now that ship ended up getting struck by an Iranian drone. Nobody was hurt, nobody was killed, the ship didn't sink, nothing like that. That ship, I think it was called the Ever Lovely or something like that, and it was owned by the same owners of the Evergreen that clogged up the Suez Canal.
Shocker.
And so, Ghost kind of deduced from that is this another deep state effort to perpetuate that war and to keep that war going? And so when you see these ceasefire strikes like this, are we watching Kabuki theater? Are we watching President Trump knowing that the MOU is going to uphold, stay strong, and saying, hey, we're going to hit these same spots that have already been hit, right? It's going to look bad. And you'll be able to, the news will be able to say there's missiles being fired again. But in reality, we're just giving them that narrative, that continuation, while the real negotiations are still ongoing, in order to kind of, I don't know, trick the quote unquote deep state into perpetuating this. I don't know. But again, I've never seen a ceasefire where you're launching missiles at each other.
As Trump would say, it's a very complicated matter when you're talking a ceasefire in this area. And I think he understands that there's rogue factions that are going to be doing things that are going to look like kinetic warfare. And it's not about taking it on the chin. It's just about recognizing who's really pulling the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I think we're seeing a lot of Kabuki theater right here. A lot of, smoke and mirrors in order to distract, the real enemy in this battle right here. And Trump has alluded to that. One of the things that General Quast did talk about is, he said when President Trump is making a decision like this, he gets all the advice from, his staff, his military staff, his State Department staff, and all that. But then he has trusted sources in that region that he talks about, people from that region, I should say, that he talks, to about how is this going to be perceived? How is this going to be received in that particular region? And, I remind you, General Quast was on the joint. Well, what was he, the staff? I can't remember his exact title, but within the Joint Chiefs as a general officer. So I would think that he has some knowledge on this.
And don't forget who he has right now with Kane. That ain't no dummy. He's he's shut. I think it's a combination of, we're seeing legitimate, like, physical attacks. Like, that part is real. I think the Kabuki theater portion is the story of, it's Iran or the IRGC that did it. Now, it may have came from an IRG stronghold. It may have even been an IRGC member that sent off those drones to attack the ships. But again, who's controlling that? And I think what we're seeing is, there's these shadow governments, this deep state that exists within Iran as well. And I think they're trying to perpetuate the war, and Trump and the civilian government of Iran both recognize this. And so I think this is where I gotta send, like, to the point you're making, I'm gonna go send these missiles in and hit shit we already hit, but we're solid. The deal's still on the table. We're still a go. I do think so.
And just to make sure that I'm citing everything, I asked the machine, and it says General Stephen L. Quast served as Deputy Director for Politico-Military Affairs for the Europe, NATO, and Russia within the Strategic Plans and Policy Directorate of the Joint Staff at the Pentagon. So there you go.
I disagree with you, Gator Rob. I won't say it's all bullshit, because we do have legit service members that are in legit harm's way. And, you know, when the potential to die is real, I'm not going to call that bullshit. I may call the storyline bullshit, but there's legitimate attacks that are happening.
All right. Okay, folks, before we move on, let's hit this could be our final sponsor of the program. And guys, we hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part that most people miss. Crypto is created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, and everybody's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels kind of complicated. That's exactly why we use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want, whether it's Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. There's no complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in just minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and boom, you're in the game. It's just a few minutes, and you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. All right. Let's jump into President Trump talking about the new Air Force One. Here we go.
So this will be the first flight of what I think is maybe the greatest commercial plane ever built. I said to Boeing, what's the best one? They said, this is the best plane ever built. And you're going to have the privilege of flying it. And I have a privilege also of flying it. But this is the first flight. We're going to the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library opening. And that'll be very good. That'll be a lot of fun. But I think, you know, to be honest with you, I'm excited about the first flight. It's something nobody's ever seen anything like it. Even you people with all your experience and all of your talent, you will never see anything like this. So they just completed it. They made it appropriate for a president. That means the security and all of the different bells and whistles they put on. Very complex stuff, but it's really quite something. And this is a plane that the United States of America should have. Our Air Force One was 35, 36 years old, and it would be parked next to the new ones like this, and it really didn't look appropriate for our country. So we're very proud of this. The country is very proud of it. And you can do two things. You can low-key it, or you can show it. And I think the country should be very proud of it. And it's beautiful, and you'll see that in a little while when you board.
An interesting comment there. You can low key it or you can show it. And then this was President Trump getting on board for the first time.
So President Trump making his inaugural trip on Air Force One. They're walking up now onto the brand new plane. In new red, white, and blue colors. $400 million gift from Qatar, likely the largest gift ever from a foreign nation. President there giving a wave as he steps onto the plane. It has taken a year and it has taken months and likely hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to get this plane upgraded, get the security all ready for this day. The president has described it as a level of.
Of course, they have to take the shots there at the end. It's taken a year, and then she corrected herself. It's taken months to get this plane ready, and of course, likely hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars. Likely. Also, the whole plane was free. The whole plane was free.
Dude, that's a flying building, bro. That's a flying building.
That is the most technologically advanced piece of transportation hardware anywhere in the entire world. And I'm including space programs, like space device, rockets and everything else. That thing can survive a nuclear blast. It can stay in the air indefinitely. There's just so much about that plane. Okay, maybe there's like some top secret aircraft that we don't know about. It might be a little more technologically advanced.
Like UFOs.
UFOs, yeah.
What kind of technology you think's put on this plane?
I don't know, man. Let's burn through a couple stories here, and then I want to get to the MK Ultra, just a couple clips from the MK Ultra hearing. Congress, in a 420-0, that's a hat tip to CannCon right there, by the way, in a 420-0 vote, have passed a resolution directing the House Ethics Committee to publicly release records of congressional members' monetary settlements involving sexual misconduct filed by Representative Thomas Massey. Are we going to get anything out of that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're going to give you, just like, remember what was it, like a month ago when we got the release of all the people, and they're like, oh yeah, Representative so-and-so, sexual misconduct, Representative so-and-so, sexual misconduct. We got no details, no idea of what was paid out, nothing. We got absolutely nothing out of that. And they were like, this is unprecedented. We now have names. And it was like 30 names over the last 50 years. It was so ridiculous. So I'm not holding my breath that we're actually going to find out how perverted our Congress actually is. But
when I saw it 420-0, I was like, yeah, okay, nothing burger.
This is sugar-coated. This is totally smoke and mirrors. Stop talking about this. We're giving you what you want. Yeah.
If you got 420-0, you ain't giving us nothing. Y'all, come on.
No. Just briefly want to mention the woke generation is dying fast. Supergirl braces for $100 million loss. Apparently, they're bringing back, I can never remember her name. It's actually Clark Kent's niece that is Supergirl. It's an actual character in DC Comics, but just bombing at the box office right now. So don't care about that story. New York Post, we had this one up a couple days ago. Jill Biden's memoir disappears from the New York Times bestseller list after debuting at top, raising questions about sales numbers. Basically, a bunch of bulk orders thrust her up to the top. They put the little dagger next to it, letting you know that bulk orders accounted for most of that. And then within like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it was completely gone from the New York Times bestseller list. So she got laundered a whole bunch of money, it sounds like.
Yep.
Again, I know, speaking of the woke generation dying off, I haven't watched this podcast yet. I want to. I know you're going to be like, oh, it's Tucker Carlson. But I want to watch this podcast with Victor Bout, the Merchant of Death. And check out this segment where he's saying what we've said all along. He's the beneficiary of Joe Biden's horrible prisoner swap for the guy that was allegedly the Merchant of Death, selling weapons to all these countries, for the woman allegedly that smoked some weed in Russia. So stupid. Check this out.
On the Biden administration time, this maybe was only choice. And this is why. She was a black, she was a lesbian, and she was a basketball fan. If not for NBA fans who put a lot of pressure for Biden administration, ESPN was running every day a kind of the stunt to, call attention that Brittany Griner is still in Russian prison for almost nothing, for some, a small quantity of CBD oil, which is forbidden in Russia. So they put a lot of pressure. So Biden administration, because they are succumbed to the LGBT agenda, and they need to bring, then in front of center of their, attention and policy, was forced by this kind of activism, where you put, by one hand, NBA fans, another one, LGBT fan, community. For Democrats, it's basically, you're done. You can't even move. You can't do nothing. These two come to you. You better do what they want. You have no choice. So for me, it was clear when, this started, basically. Of course, negotiations protracted. But, well, I can't complain. I'm thankful that my government decided to bring me back, despite, by other hand, I was already like a product with the expiring date pretty soon. If they don't exchange me this time, in 4 years, by now I would be released, nevertheless. So for Americans, I was kind of losing big value, despite they created this dramatic, myth about me that I was the biggest arms dealer in the world, that was second to bin Laden, that, whatever happened in the world, I was responsible without any proof. I have no gringe about it. Whatever happens. It would be maybe subject to different other, books or.
All right. So So the Grimer thing, you know, the Brittany Grinder, whatever. That's just hilarious. But that comment he makes there at the end, you know, he's kind of saying like, I was just the scapegoat. Like everybody wanted to blame their problems on me. And I, you know, again, I don't know enough about Victor Bout to say one way or the other. You know, we fund countries all over the world with arms. We literally orchestrate more coups throughout the globe than anybody else and fund them and arm them. Operation Gladio, etc. And so when I see a guy like Victor Bout being, you know, arrested in the United States, a movie made about him with a, you know, huge budget and top name Hollywood actors playing him, and it's a great movie and all that other stuff. I think Lord of War was about him, right? The Nicolas Cage movie. That was about Victor Bout, right? It was based on his life.
That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. But when I see that propaganda being put out there, you know, it makes me wonder, what is the other side of this story? You know, I don't know if you have a take on that.
Do we do this stuff? Absolutely. I agree with you. But so do other countries. And, you know, dude ain't gonna get a pass, you know, just because, well, we did it, they did it. Now screw all that nonsense. You know, whether you're CIA or another country's intelligence asset, you're bringing harm to humanity in general. So you're not a good guy, you know, and unfortunately you have, you know, that attracts the Hollywood scripts. And then
but when hold on. So when are we going to go after Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and Boeing? And I mean, because that's the same thing. When are we going to go after them?
So you want a fair world.
Well, you can't just go after one's. I'm not like opposed to going after arms manufacturers broadly, but like you ever watch did you watch the Star Wars?
No, I get the I've been pissing everybody off with these moral questions, because again, I get what you're saying. And I'm not disagreeing with you that if you got, you know, Northrop Grumman and you know, Raytheon and all these that are going out there and using, you know, shadow warriors and contractors to facilitate wars in order to grow their businesses, should there be an accountability? Yes, I think there should. We're on par there. But what I'm saying is, do we want a world where all the nations have it fair? Because I see a lot of people pushing this argument. Everything should be fair. And I'll tell you right now, I'm opposed to that. I want America to be the biggest swinging clock that's out there, because that's what was given to us, whether through deception or not. That's what was given to us. I want the rest of the world to be like, we better not knock on the door that's going to piss off these guys. I don't want my kids or my grandkids to grow up in a world where, oh, we're equal to China, we're equal to Russia, we're equal to Israel, we're equal to Iran. I don't want them to grow. I want them to be the most powerful country ever. And I don't want that to stop.
So have you ever seen The Last Jedi, Star Wars, The Last Jedi, when they're on Canto Bight? They're on Cantonica at Canto Bight, which is the casino where they end up hijacking a ship, right, to get back to the rebel fleet. And they're on the ship, and this prisoner that was in there that picks them out of jail to go hijack the ship. He's played by Benicio del Toro. I can't remember the character's name, but he's like, let's find out who owns this ship. And he pulls up a holocast, and he's going through and he's seeing like all this. He's like, oh, this is a weapons contractor. And they're like, for us or for them? And he's like going through and he sees like X-Wings and Y bombers and all these. He's like, for the good guys. And then he keeps going, and then he sees TIE fighters and you know, and he's like, and the bad guys. And it's like, that's the whole system. And Victor Bout is no different from it than anybody else. Any of these other weapons companies out there, they fund both sides of the situation, you know, because business, that is their business. They're not moral companies. None of these weapons manufacturers are moral companies, in my opinion.
And I agree with you on that. And I have an issue with funding both sides, because I want them to fund just our side. That, you know, that's part of what makes us the dominant country. I want us to be the dominant country. Like I want everybody to understand Alpha's position. I'm not looking for a fair and balanced world. I'm not, because a lot of the freedoms, even the illusions of freedoms that we enjoyed, were because people realize don't mess with America. I don't want that ideology to ever disappear for my kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids. Now, I do want it. I don't want to fund both sides because then we get into the endless wars of things. And me and you completely agree there. But I do want us to have the Northrop Grummans. I do want to have the Raytheons and more. I want America to be looked at as, don't piss those guys off or you'll cease to exist. I want the rest of the world to have that fear.
And Glitch at chat and everybody else in the chat, I agree with you guys. Last Jedi was the worst Star Wars movie ever made. I agree with
like,
that.
Did you see that? I'm like, come on, bro.
It is the worst Star Wars movie ever made. Ever made. I can't even. The only good scene I think in The Last Jedi is the very end when Luke Skywalker is facing down Kylo Ren and all. That's not even The Last Jedi. That's the one before that. That's not The Last Jedi. Never mind. That's the only good scene in that whole 3-part movie, that part of the trilogy, when like they're just like bombing him and it was awesome. But anyways, the rest of the series absolutely sucked. Let's get into, and by the way, Lord of War is a biopic. Is not a direct biopic of Victor Bout, but its protagonist, Yuri Orlov, is loosely based on him. While Orlov is a fictional character, his exploits mirror Bout's real-life career as a notorious arms smuggler known as the Merchant of Death. So they don't just not give him a biopic. They give him something loosely based on him so that people are going to watch Lord of the War and think that that's him. So it's interesting. Let's get into the MK Ultra hearing. Did you watch any of this, Alpha?
Not the whole thing, but I've seen pretty much all the clips.
All right, so let's start out with we've got Una Panuna out there, and let's do the thing. So this was her. By the way, she followed me on X yesterday, which was kind of
shit.
Yeah. She followed me on X yesterday, and I'm like, has she ever seen any of my podcasts or any Badlands podcast? But
I'll give you some info off air, not on air, but I'll tell you something after the show.
All right, so check this out.
Is it in your expert opinion that Jack Ruby and Manson were assets of the intelligence agencies specifically pertaining to MK Ultra? Were they MK Ultra victims?
Yeah, theoretically, Manson, I've never been able to prove absolutely. Jack Ruby, I believe this is something else. The Warren Commission investigation on the Warren Commission was Alan Dulles, the former CIA director, who authorized and ran MK Ultra until he was fired by President Kennedy. The liaison to the committee for the CIA, who handled the information coming from the CIA back and forth to the Warren Commission, was Richard Helms, who was a direct supervisor of Jolly West. They knew who West was. They knew that what West was capable of and what they had paid him to do and what he had reported to them that he could do, including inducing mental disorders in people. That was never disclosed to the commission as far as anyone knows. So I believe that West was put in there to keep Jack Ruby from telling his story.
Wow. In closing, I just want to thank you all for being here today. And we will be following up, Dr. Kinzer, on your request to fully redact. I'll be following personally with the director of the CIA, the MK Ultra files that we do have. Also, as I noted earlier, there will be more that will be declassified, specifically pertaining to newly found records that were located.
So that was the most interesting thing to me. Everybody knew Ruby and Manson were MK Ultra, or at the very least intelligence assets, right? I don't think that's new to anybody else.
The MK Ultra maybe, but
Yeah,
definitely assets.
Manson was MK Ultra. Manson, I believe, firmly was MK Ultra. Jack Ruby, maybe not. Maybe not. Jack Rubenstein. Let's call him Jack Rubenstein, not Ruby. Let's call him what he is. Jack Rubenstein, there's no question that he's an intelligence asset, maybe not MK Ultra. He didn't, but Manson was. I mean, if you've watched anything about Manson, the drugs and everything else, the interesting thing there. So when MK Ultra was declassified, they deleted like more than 80%, I think, of the records around MK Ultra. We got the bare minimum of MK Ultra stuff. So when Anna Paulina Luna says, there's more newly discovered records coming out, is it probably a rug? Most likely. I'm not going to get excited about it. But just mentioning that is kind of interesting. So that was my takeaway from that piece right there. If you want to comment on that, go ahead.
No, we're solid. I'm with you on it.
All right. Well, then let's get into Tim Burchett, who is maybe trying to turn over a new leaf. This was straight here for Badlands. The Skiff put this out on X.
What are the possibilities that what we've learned in MK Ultra, now that it has advanced so much to algorithms and the computer and getting to loners, that some of these loners could, through this just mass propagation of whatever you're doing, could cause someone to maybe take a shot at a president?
I know there's a lot of speculation out there about the Butler shooting, and I guess even the Charlie Kirk shooting. I just hate to speculate because I don't know. I have no firsthand knowledge whether those guys were programmed through radio waves or through their computer activity. So I would never hazard a guess, except to say what I've already said, that they developed means that we've never been told about many, many years ago. And I imagine they've evolved to be much more effective now. So
Let me interrupt you one more time, and I apologize again. But don't you think that they could cast this broad net through these algorithms and other things, and maybe they don't know the exact person it's going to affect, but they know what type of person it's going to affect, and they know it's going to happen, and that way they can't predict when it's going to happen, but they think it will happen, and then that way they can sort of wash their hands of this whole thing and say, well, we didn't have anything to do with it, but in effect they really did, because they put this out there and they continue to put it out there. To what other method you're talking about? Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry, ma'am, if you want to jump in.
She's with NIH.
Okay. Doctor, go ahead.
It sounds to me like you're describing something like the Martin Luther King assassination. The FBI didn't carry it out, but it created such a climate just denouncing King as the most dangerous man in America and putting out all this material about how he was helping communists, that they must have thought it's going to filter down. Somebody will take action, and then we can say we didn't have anything to do with it.
And James Earl Ray was a third-rate thief. He made an incredible shot, 1 foot on a commode, 1 foot in a bathtub, leaning out of a window, basically. And the next day, or that afternoon, all the shrubbery was cut in front of the flop house he was staying in. There's a lot on that one that will never be discussed. I have some friends that were there, so I guess I'm on pretty close to firsthand knowledge. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I do got some comments here, because this is the argument that I've had from the onset of the Charlie Kirk assassination and before, is two things can exist at the same time because of the evolution of MK Ultra. You can have Tyler Robinson, for those that, do you believe the FBI's narrative, right? I always get the Jews crowd to come after me at this. I never said that. Do I believe Tyler Robinson is the one that took the shot at Charlie Kirk? Absolutely, definitively. It is.
No,
now,
it's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is. Now, what we will learn, it is. There's only certain places you could have took that shot from. And when you've looked at all the 3D models and everything, it's right from the get-go. And again, you guys are all going to learn that he did have a front plate ballistics. You'll see.
When you look at the video evidence and the camera pans 2 seconds after the gunshot, and he's already halfway across the roof. It wasn't Tyler Robinson.
Again,
where they said could have been from somewhere else.
Again, this is the video footage that's being released that doesn't give you an accurate time on the sequence of events. Unless you got unless you have one camera, unless you're looking at one single video camera from the second the shot's taken,
You are.
To the second that you're seeing him running, then everything else is being pieced together, and we haven't seen.
It's all one camera. This is on one camera that you hear the gunshot 150 yards away. So you can even factor in how long it takes for sound to travel 150 yards, less than a second. And as it's panning, you see the guy running across the roof. As you're hearing the gunshot, it wasn't Tyler Robinson from that place.
Again, you are going to learn. You are going to see unequivocal. It's going to be proven unequivocally again. And you guys get as mad as you want. DNA on the bullets, DNA on the rifle, DNA on the screwdriver. You can say, well, it was planted. Well, say what you want. But again, do I think Tyler Robinson took the shot? 100%. Are you going to find out that Charlie Kirk was wearing a ballistic plate on the front of his chest? Absolutely. If you think that there was tape charges in his microphone, you're a moron. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say what it is. But again, does that mean that Tyler Robinson, this puts us into the conversation of the clip that you just played, that Tyler Robinson wasn't someone who is, and I hate to use the word victim, so I won't, but somebody who was subject to this type of algorithm propaganda that's put out there? Absolutely. It is sophisticated. You know, one of the things that we know from BX on X, Becca, that's looked into the Order of 9 Angles and the 764, is we have these corrupt agents that are within these groups that are looking for specific people to target. And again, that's a different set of things, but it just shows the existence of these agents in there. We know that Tyler Robinson was in some of these types of groups and Discord chats. We know. Well, I can't say we know, but we could do very educated speculation that these groups have.
Harvey Oswald was embedded in the communist movement. So what? They're perfect patsies when they're in those positions.
The difference is where we've gone from there to then. There's probably a communication and a paper trail that goes back to the Lee Harvey Oswalds. What I'm saying is the evolution of MK Ultra now. There's not. This is what Rep Burchett is talking about here. Is they can wipe their hands clean, and it is because it's something that's hidden within the algorithm. They know through predictive analytics, right? And we know that this goes back to Brennan and those guys, right? We have Patrick Berge was one of the ones that helped them create this technology. We know that they have a digital file on, forget people, but specific demographics and regions, age groups, sex, right? That they know exactly what kind of content to create at the exact moment to create it, and in front of what exact group to put it in front of, to have predictive analytics say that the probability of a shooter coming out of this group with this content at this time and these headlines, that probability is higher than 90%. You would never, unless you are the person that has the ability to show that software, right? Or you know, the structure of events to do that. That's near impossible to prove, but there's a desired outcome that still comes about it. This is the evolution of MK Ultra. And this, I do think, played into Tyler Robinson.
Well, again, I think Robinson's a patsy. He very well may have been there with the intention of taking that shot. I don't think he took that shot. It just cannot buy off on that. And it's because of that one video of him up and running. It is impossible. He did not have any, even with the training that we have, training that scout snipers have, they would not be able to take the shot and be up and mobile in less than 2 seconds. And that's what it is on the video. Video.
I disagree with you.
You can disagree all you want. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's impossible. You have absolutely every right to disagree.
You can't do it. Everybody go lay on your belly, grab a broomstick, put the broomstick like a rifle, lay on a blanket,
down, put it in your backpack, pick up your backpack, put your backpack on.
Again, the breaking down is something that is through speculation.
All right. Well, I mean, there's not a rifle in his hand when he jumps down from the roof.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't broken down.
Okay, so even then, take a rifle off.
That's what I'm saying is when you remove all the speculation, thanks to Candace and Ian Carroll and Massey and all those other people, when you remove all the speculation and you write down on a piece of paper the actual facts that our current FBI has said, this is what we have, it's very plausible. It's when you start to incorporate the speculation, this and all that.
So hold on here. I haven't watched any of their stuff. I might have watched a couple things early on. None of them have ever pointed to this video that I'm pointing to. This is all my own unique thought that we talked about immediately following the assassination. But I don't want to turn this into a debate. Maybe we could talk about this on SitRep. I because we only got 4 minutes left, and there was one important part of this, and that's the very beginning. So this is something I've always talked about when we talk about MK Ultra, is that MK Ultra, when they first initially started it back in the 60s and 70s, and maybe even before then that we didn't know about, was they were using LSD as the medium, right? We have evolved from that, and you alluded to this when you were just talking there. Flashback to this story. I bring this story up all the time as one of the stories that shows you how MK Ultra has evolved. It is still, in my opinion.
Let me make a comment real quick to Gator Rob. Alpha, you're a sick cop. Change clothes in his pants. You know how many guys I've arrested with a rifle in their pants? Well over 20 guys in my career. So if you think that you can't walk down the street with the long rifle, then you're the moron, because you can. Now, what you can't do is run, because that's how we catch them, because then they trip. But you absolutely can walk, or do, what do you call it, the gym walkers? You absolutely can do that. And we've arrested, I guarantee you there's cops in the chat that have probably arrested guys with rifles and shotguns in their pants. Again, this is people speaking on things where they don't have experience.
Yeah, it'd be incredibly uncomfortable. Also, you caught people with like long guns, like full length hunting rifles.
Long guns.
That's crazy.
Long gun. And I'm not talking like an AR, because an AR is considered a long gun, I'm talking like hunting rifles.
Well, an AR is much more difficult. That's because it's got a pistol grip and all that. A hunting rifle would be much easier than an AR, because of the ergonomics of an AR.
They've done it with ARs. Most of them pull out the magazine.
All right. Facebook manipulated 689,000 users' emotions for science. This was a study that they did. I think it was back in like 2012 or 2010. Facebook actually went and took a huge number of people and deliberately showed them depressing content to depress them on Facebook. And they were successful in doing so. And so, Facebook, a lot of people, and I agree, believe that the Facebook is an asset, a DARPA, a DARPA construct, right? A CIA construct, which I would agree with. They've been working on this and manifesting the ability to do this for so long. They don't need the LSD anymore. I don't even know if they need like remote neurological monitoring. Like, look up RNM, remote neurological monitoring. It's against the law to do it in Michigan. So there's an actual law that you cannot control somebody's brain waves through radio, through radio waves. And, when we go back to the shooter, and was it in New Hampshire, the National Guard guy that went to the bowling alley and killed all those people? And then you go and find out that he got hearing aids from the VA, and that after he got the hearing aids, he was complaining that he was hearing voices. That's why I won't get hearing aids. That's why I don't go to modern medicine broadly, but that's why I won't get, my hearing's terrible. I won't get hearing aids. No.
Was it Facebook or Instagram? Which one of them got in the lawsuit because they're purposefully putting depressing content?
Do you not just listen? Do you listen to me? I literally just covered that whole thing.
Oh, well, that's when I told you I was reading the chat.
Stop reading the chat, Ghost. I'm gonna start calling you Ghost. Yes, that's
what was the age group that was targeted on that one? Because I want to say it was young people.
I think it was like 18 to.
I thought it was, the whole controversy was that it was younger than that, wasn't it? I mean, regardless, any age, it's inappropriate, not okay.
Let me see, age.
I got caught ignoring CannCon.
Jeez. All right, so real quick, we have one more sponsor, then we'll get into our rants here. And let's get this pulled up here, our final sponsor of the program. And remember, we're going to play the full song as our outro, so stick around till the end here. All right, parents, real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We are coming up on America's 250th birthday. Let's go. 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters. Not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and honestly, it's a great way to introduce your kids to how America began, from who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the ideas that they fought for still matter today. The guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well that they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way that kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids and if you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free with this special offer. You just need to pay $2 for shipping and handling. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com and get the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. All right. I just saw the chat about the segue there. That is kind of strange. I think that's it. Let's get into rants here. I know. Oh, wow. Crap. We had a lot of rants. Oh, wait. Some of these are all right. So Glitch became a monthly supporter. Appreciate that. Thomas Times, shooting video for sit rep, veteran killed by woman over parking lot. That was down the street for me. I go to that Walmart. Based on evidence presented so far, I side with her, just barely. Second Amendment. We will cover that on sit rep tonight. I've got it pulled up. I do not agree with her on that. But yeah, that Walmart is right down the street for me, and I can tell you all about that Walmart. It is well, it's not right down the street. It's like 20 minutes away, but I've been there many times. Behind my chair, is it time to break the glass? Not yet. Not yet. But we will see that, I think, at some point. Lee Walden, ahoy, fellas. I'm enjoying your work, and GART Virtual was great in reference to our new Air Force One. The only thing that troubles me is there's no in-flight refueling. Happy birthday, America. There isn't?
I didn't know that.
I did not know that. I can't imagine.
He made the statement that has the ability to fly indefinitely, which means it has to have the ability to refuel.
What if it's nuclear?
But then it wouldn't have those kind of engines, would it?
Sure. You get the power from nuclear.
No, but the engine makeup itself would look different because that's based off burning fuel, right? Air and fuel.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not an airplane mechanic.
That'd be nuts if Trump came out later and he's like, this entire plane is propelled by a suitcase-sized nuclear
anti-gravity technology.
Well, remember the Russia stuff, right? We had the Russia stuff where Russia had like nuclear drones and everything else, and they're like, nuclear drones, like they can detonate nuclear weapons. No, they're powered by nuclear. They're not nuclear. They're powered by nuclear. And I was like, that's game-changing right there.
So
we are on the brink. What's up?
Until it crashes into your house, then it's pretty damn nuclear.
Lee Walden, Una Bionica is mama bear and has big balls compared to most in the house. I like her. I think she has a lot of, not smoke and mirrors, but a lot of rah-rah shish kumbah, but I like her.
I absolutely am a fan.
Yeah. I don't take everything she says seriously, but anyways. Data 12, Lainey Lou, where have you seen that? At Antifa Literature tools in the toolbox combine self-production of drug use and Tails software on a thumb drive. I just don't know how long for. I don't know what that's a reference to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to think about that one. Denise Ann, so sad to hear about Alito. Oh, wait, it's still fake news. As of July 2nd, 2026, Samuel Alito is still a member of SCOTUS. Brian called it live on air. So many people are not giving him credit.
Leak operations.
Yeah, I literally said on air because we went from Alito's retiring and I was like, holy shit, to 10 minutes later, Alito's not retiring. And I just said, did we just watch a canary trap in real time? I think we did.
They put out information to different groups and they absolutely got what they wanted.
Exactly. The Meerkat working on the song we'll try to share tomorrow. All right. Looking forward to it. Lee Walden, no in-flight refueling. That is fascinating.
Yeah, I gotta know where that info comes from, Lee.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's bonkers that it can't get refueled in flight because Air Force One has to be able to fly indefinitely, right?
Like
Air Force One,
you would have to have some type of in-flight refueling.
Yeah, it's or it just doesn't need fuel, or it's
well, okay. I feel okay on that one.
I have no idea.
Send the link or put the link in the chat. I got to know where you're getting that info from.
Yeah, you got plenty of time because we're going to play the whole outro as our outro. John's going to kill me, but whatever. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Tune in to Sit Rep tonight with me and Alpha. I'm sure we'll get into the Charlie Kirk debate again, even though we've had it like a million times and I'm right and he's wrong. And what else you got coming up, brother?
Tyler Robinson's the one that killed Charlie Kirk.
You're high as a kite. Also innocent until proven guilty. What else you got coming up, man? I'm giving you a chance.
Tonight, Sit Rep, 9 p.m. Eastern, Overwatch and The Guardian. After that, when you guys have a chance, go check out the replays over there on the Alpha Warrior show on Rumble, YouTube, whatever platform you're watching. We'd definitely appreciate it.
All right. Lee Walden says has an 8,000 mile range. I bet you that can be incredibly expanded if you slow it down, right? So, all right. Here's the entire song to outro. We'll see you guys later.
Into a moment where a nation would begin. Powder smoke and rising banners, voices ringing through the flame. We rode the currents of tomorrow, found the dawn of freedom's flame. Raise your eyes, the dawn is breaking. Raise your voice, the world is waking. Raise the flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rides on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to glory, soft disclosure fans the flame. For the hands that built this nation may no cracked hand yet remain. Through the camps and frozen rivers, past the muskets and the smoke, every dream of generations lived inside the words they spoke. Hand to hand the fire was carried through the darkness evermore. A spark becomes a blazing beacon like the ones who came before. Raise your eyes, the dawn is breaking. Raise your voice, the world is waking. Raise the flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rides on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to glory, soft disclosure fans the flame. For the hands that built this nation made no cracked hand the pages time is worn. Every age will hear the echoes of the day a dream was born. Though the road may twist before us, though the stars may lose their way, some fires burn beyond tomorrow, lighting every future.